Welcome to Unregulated Leadership. We are three William James doctoral candidates discussing leadership topics. I'm Ashley Parrish with Lavanya Douglas and Latoya Johnson.
And we're all in.
Yes. So if you're wondering, right, unregulated, what does unregulated means? Well, let me tell you, okay? Unregulated by Google's definition means to not be controlled or supervised by regulations or laws. One definition that I really like says the unregulated mind. So what does that mean? Well, to me, that means ain't no rules. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. And so that's what happens when you are a leader that doesn't follow like this basic blueprint of what leadership looks like. That's when greatness happens, right? Because you're using your mind, you're using your skills, you're using everything that you have learned over the years to be able to lead people, because you can't lead everyone the same. So that's just how I view, okay? And if any of y'all know us, you know, we're a little bit special. And so we don't follow rules. And so we felt like that was the perfect title for this show. So Ashley, tell us what you think unregulated leadership means.
So I like the idea of being an unregulated leader. It tells me that you can show up and be who you need to be to get the job done. And not only that, not only just for the job, but also for the people. So that comes down to that being like a thermostat leader versus a thermometer leader. A thermometer reflects the temperature versus a thermostat changes the temperature in the room. So if something's very stressful in an office, that thermostat leader will show up in either it will add some calmness to the office, or maybe the office is a bit negative and they'll add some positivity. They can be that very flexible and adaptive leader to what the situation needs. So I like that there's no like parameters on leadership, even though there's like all these like leadership help books and they all tell you that, oh, if you want to be a good leader, you need to wake up every day at 4 a.m. and you need to be super positive and always be a servant leader and you need to be this kind of person. It's like, no, I don't think so.
I love
Take it away, Latoya.
Well, for me, unregulated is truly about being who you are, right? And not being afraid to be who you are. The fact that I'm in this program, right, as a woman of color, as a queer woman of color, and get to work alongside women like you, just goes against the grain of what has been traditional leadership. And for me, that's what unregulated is. Everything that's outside the stereotypical box.
Real. Dang. We need to put that on a magnet.
Listen, we need to put that, that's a whole definition. We need to put that on a shirt, okay? You know how they had the shirts with the definition on the back, right?
Yeah.
Unregulated leadership.
Yes.
Everything Latoya just said. Oh, back.
Right. It's like, tell me you know how to slay without telling me you know how to slay.
I feel like we can make that happen. What y'all think? Y'all want to make some shirts?
Yes. Mugs, shirts.
Yes.
Mugs, shirts. We're going to have paraphernalia for this show by the time this is all over.
That's right.
Maybe even, sell it in a bookstore or something. I don't know. But yeah.
I like that. Ooh.
All right.
What's next?
So I think we as hosts should introduce ourselves. I'll start. So I'm Latoya Johnson. I was born in Philadelphia. I grew up in Philadelphia. I now live in the Boston area and have been for the last 8 years. And for the last 14 years of my life, I've worked in higher education, primarily at small private liberal arts institutions, where I get to be an advocate for students of color, for marginalized students, and a champion of social justice and equity. And that's really been my kind of goal as an educator to date. Lavanya, let's hear a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Lavanya Douglas, and I currently live in the Washington, D.C. area. I work in community supervision in D.C. I've been doing that for 19 years. I love my job. I love helping people. And so because I love helping people so much, I decided to go back to school to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling. But then I didn't stop there because I wanted to help more people, right? The people. So I wanted to help leaders because I recognize that some leaders need some help, right? So that's what, I'm here. So I chose William James because they have a program that is not just about like you experiment, like you experience leadership, like you put yourself in positions that are uncomfortable and you talk about it. And I love that. And so, yeah, so that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. Ashley, we can't leave you out.
That's me. So I'm from Tampa, Florida, and I'm in the Navy. I'm actually currently deployed right now. You see this like New York City style lounge wall, but it's not. It's actually if I try hard enough, I could peel this off. I got it off Amazon. They're not sponsoring this. This is just a shout out. I put this up because just because I'm deployed doesn't mean my room, can't look cute. So needless to say, being in the military and leadership is very important. So I've always had a very deep passion for our national security and protecting our freedoms. Even if, I don't agree with what someone else is thinking, like I feel like it's my personal responsibility to make sure I protect someone's right to live the life that they want to live as an American. And I always felt like that was my mission, but I didn't know how to go about it. And then I started learning like, oh, I can actually go to school for leadership, like actually get a doctorate and be a leadership psychologist. I'm like, well, I would love to do that. So that's what I'm doing right now. And so I would love to be a leadership psychologist for the DoD and to help implement the tricks and tools that I've learned through William James and apply it to our military and civilian leadership within the DoD, so they know how to work together and think together and cooperate to protect our rights as Americans, and not only just as Americans, but to also free the oppressed people in other countries as well that don't have the national rights that we have, but should have the same rights that we have as humans, though. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
I love it.
Goals. And thank you for your service, Ashley.
Yes, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support. And with that, why William James? Maybe we should talk a little bit about that. Did we say William James? I didn't.
No.
Did you?
I didn't either. I think one of the things that was truly a draw for me to William James was that, as I said, I've been in education for the last 14 years. And it was kind of ironic for me that so many people in higher education, especially, were preaching about leadership, but the people who were their subordinates felt kind of repressed by him. And I was like, this cannot be the way. This is not it. And so I went into the William James program really hoping to just learn more about leadership and how to live as a leader, right? It was important for me as someone who was, kind of a box checker in terms of my career. Climbing the ladder meant that I'd get there probably sooner than I anticipated, which indeed happened. And I wanted to be prepared when I got there. I watched a lot of people get promoted with no real training or resources for being in the new position. And they hurt a lot of people along the way. And I didn't want to be one of those folks. I didn't want to be one of those people. And the William James program, both its practical components and the curriculum, really spoke to me in terms of kind of giving me the resources and tools to be better than the leaders I had seen in my past.
I love that. You know, you made a comment about pain, right? Like leaders causing people pain. And the thing about that is if you don't understand your role as a leader, like that is not something that you take into account, because your thought is, I'm in charge. You do what I say do because I say do it, not realizing like the people that are with us are more with us than they're with their families, right? And so if they're traumatized because of
yes,
you, and then they go home traumatized, and then they're traumatizing their children, and then their children are traumatizing the kids at school and the teachers. I mean, this is a vicious cycle, all because you have a terrible leader. Like, I don't think we take account into how much of a role we play in just the happiness and the peace that we bring to this world. I mean,
yeah,
I think you're right. It's actually one of my research interests is the trauma that new leaders cause. I think when we go into leadership, when we're given that power in that position, sometimes our ego takes over, and we forget that that the ripple effect that you so articulately describe happens when we are not held accountable. More importantly, when we don't know ourselves and the full effect of what that power and position can do to other people's lives.
Dang.
That should be a part of like an aspiring leaders program, right? That title of what you just described, like you can go across the country teaching that, right? Like you can, so serious, because the trauma that new leaders cause, girl.
Yeah.
That's good right there. That is good right there. Who you writing that for?
I hope to write it after this, right? We'll talk about some other topics that we plan to bring to the show, also research interests that we have, and those of future guests and colleagues. But yeah, I hope to do some real research into
good.
The trauma that new leaders cause.
Love that.
LaVine, do you want to say why William James for you next?
Well, you know, mine is a little bit different. Not a little bit different. So one of my staff, when I was looking for a program, she actually found William James for me. Because she kept saying, you gotta go back. And I'm like, girl, I just finished my master's program. I'm not doing that. And so she did all this research. She sent it to me. She's like, listen, the application deadline is like next week. You need to apply. And it was like, I don't know, the summertime. And I'm like, this starts in like 2 months. I don't think this is what God called me to do. Anyway, so as we see, I started the application, did the interview, and then I started the program. But I wanted to do leadership because I had some not so great leaders, right? And at one point, I was actually gonna quit my job because I love the job that I said I love now, and I was gonna go sell timeshares at the window. Okay, I was gonna quit my job. I was like, I can sell anything, right? So I could sell timeshares, right?
I believe it.
I'm gonna go to the beach and sell timeshares. And then they told me how much they make. And I was like, maybe I'll just stick it out. Maybe I'll just, I'm gonna just try. But the more I got a part of the program, it's like, you know, leadership is not what you read in a book. Yes, you can get some guidance from a book. Yes, you can get education from a book, but you have to be intentional and you have to be in the moment and you have to connect to the people that you're leading. And it can't be, okay, well, the book said that I have to take 90 days to observe and then 60 days. Like, that is not authentic. It's just a guide, just like policies and procedures. They're a guide. They're not the rule. That's just to help you.
Yeah.
It's different. So this program teaches us how to be that natural, authentic leader and show up as yourself, right? Because we're all different. I mean, as y'all,
sure,
right? But we all show up and we can still be impactful in the same situation, handle it differently, but still have a positive outcome because we're authentically showing up as ourselves in this in this area or this issue. So
Yeah.
so that's how I got here, not knowing it'd be as awesome as it is. But yeah.
Oh, I like that.
What about you, Ashley? How you get here?
Well, as someone that's been kicked out of grad school twice and never technically got accepted into undergrad, I found a back way in. It's very ironic that I'm in a doctorate program. So it wasn't don't worry, I wasn't misbehaving. It was just like academic probation, yada yada, whatever. Can't keep me down. So yeah, so me being here is pretty funny. I always thought like to be in a doctorate program, you have to be a certain type of person. So I just finished my master's and I got certified in John Maxwell. He's writes like over 100 books on leadership, and I became certified in his program. And when I went there to get the certification, I didn't know what it meant. I just thought like you get the certification and then I can go back, you know, with my military job, and I can just keep facilitating these John Maxwell courses. Anyway, to this. So somebody says at this like this really big, like there's like 3,000 people there at this like, is a what do you call it? Like a reunion of like a convention or a convention. And it's like, oh no, I'm a consultant. I'm a leadership consultant. I was like, what is that? And they're like, oh, I go to different organizations and I advise them. I'm like, I want to do that. And my grandmother kept nagging me. She kept like, you need to go get your PhD. I'm like, heck no, like my master's almost killed me. I'm like, I will not do that. I'm like, I'm not that kind of person. And then my now husband, then boyfriend, he was actually in school to be a clinical psychologist. And long story short, that program didn't work out because they didn't accept the, because he's had the GI Bill, he was in the Army, and they didn't accept that money anymore from the Army. So he needed to find a new school. So we actually started dating because of our passion for leadership. We're total losers. but he, I guess it was just like a calling of some sort. But anyways, we looked at other universities to get a doctorate in leadership, but something just like couldn't click. And when I heard leadership psychology, I was like, yes, that's what I want. I want to know what's going on in here, because working in an environment, especially in the DoD, there's that suck it up, you know, like be tough, exterior, and not saying that the military doesn't prioritize leadership, but the idea of having emotional intelligence, you know, and being in tune with how you're feeling about things. The military isn't really known for feeling their feelings. So I love that the fact that I could bring a brain scan to a meeting and be like, according to this brain scan, like this person is experiencing a toxic work environment. Because for me, like it's about facts. Like take the emotions out of it. I don't get me wrong, I'm a warm and fuzzy person. But when I know I need to argue a point, like kind of like a lawyer, you know, you have to have the evidence. And I know with the environment that I come from and I want to keep working with, I have to bring hardcore evidence. And so if I can bring a brain scan and I can show you that leadership and certain types of different styles of leadership is helpful for the mission, then that takes all the argument out of it. Because a lot of times it's like, you know, you have your boot camp, your drill instructor, and you're yelling at people's faces and having that hardcore, tough as nails leadership style. Like there's a time and place for all leadership styles, but you don't need to have only one all the time. And so I'll say that's what got me to William James, and what kept me at William James is how I'm treated. Like I had like almost like a panic attack when I applied for William James, because I'm like, there's no way, like one, I'm not going to get accepted, and two, I'm not going to make it, because this is real time. This is a doctoral program. And like the amount of like grace and like support that like William James, the faculty and the professors give me, like I could not still be in school without them. Like, just for example, just literally 2 days ago, I sent Dr. O'Brien, Dr. Wiedemann an email. And I was like, I've been working on this exercise like 2 to 3 a.m. with no days off for the past 2 weeks. I am literally exhausted. I'm like, the homework's going to be late. And Dr. Wiedemann was like, well, just don't do it this week. And you can make it up by doing another like little side project in 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, I'm like, because I've been talking so much about this book I've been reading. I read the entire textbook, so he knows I've done it, but he's just like common sense. Like, the student is literally struggling. I know she's read all the coursework because she's been telling me how much she loves the book, and so I'm going to have her record a Zoom call for the class as a little class project about the book and what she's read. Some people would think that's more work actually, but for me, what I need this week is just like to give me some slack. And so I'm like, and that's why I've stayed with William James, because they operate, with common sense and just in so much grace, and just have such a like a kind spirit. I'm sure you guys have felt the same.
Oh yeah, I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking it's not even the type of students that come here, the amazing cohort that we have. Like,
Oh yeah.
I would not still be in this program if it wasn't for our cohort. Like, the support, the like encouragement,
Yes.
the hands-on, tangible, let me walk you through this, let me help you through this, let me be a part of this with you. Our group projects have been amazing. Like, we've been able to learn from each other, and it hasn't been like a lot of conflict. It's just been learning. And this space that we're in is the safe learning space that the professors and the students have allowed to happen. And I love it. So yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, Lavanya, you went to my wedding. I met you at school. Like, I actually invited the entire class to my wedding. So yeah, I've gotten along very well with my cohort.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think, Latoya?
No, I think you highlighted like 3 really cool things about William James. One is that I do think it attracts a certain kind of person, right? I think the people in our program are generally people who are, doing human services kind of stuff already. And they want to be the best, right? They want to be the best. That desire and drive we see in all of our classmates to, like, as Gandhi said, leave the world better than you found it, right? And that's like just kind of, you see that in the people that we study with on a daily basis. The other thing is there is the neuro leadership, like concentration is one of the only in the country, and that is super cool to like see the new stuff that happens and research that comes from that group, which is, as you said, it's like clear, concrete evidence of what is going on in someone's brain cannot be, denied. So that's really cool. And the third thing I'd say is that they really do have a I am not a military person, but the camaraderie and care and support that they try to provide for veterans and active service folks is like top notch from what I can see. I have a few people in every class who are always praising how accommodating and kind and gracious, as you say, the administration has been. And like all of you, have had my fair share of struggles throughout my time, and I'm still here, and I can only say I can say that that it's been because people were gracious and merciful to me when I was struggling.
Yeah, that's so good. I agree. I like that they do the check-in to see how everyone's doing. And you know what I like? I like that sometimes when we're doing like a practicum or whatever the class is, if the conversation gets away from us and we're and we're diving into somebody's check-in because they're dealing with something personally hard, like it's okay. And I feel like we get so much out of it, and it's at actual like on the job training. And what's cool is like a lot of our classmates, they are counselors, like clinical counselors, and that clinical counselor goes on, the hat goes on, and it's like you can see like your classmate has now like turned, you can see has turned into this like amazing angel of wisdom and like helps you get through things. And I just find it to be like such a superpower that these classmates have, and it's super cool.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Wow. So let's go to the next topic. Since that's what we need is I Love William James shirt. That's what we need.
Well, we can get that too. That could be a part of the paraphernalia for this unregulated leadership.
Oh, yes. We'll have Latoya's definition of on the back, and then I Love William James on the front.
Come on, designer.
Very nice. And it can be yours for $12.99.
Come on. Marketing.
My undergrad is marketing.
I love it.
So the next thing, since this is our first episode, we're gonna going down through the outline. So what you can expect from us for next time is what we'll have is a tea time. So ladies, show off this is what tea time will look like. We'll have a segment. And right now, these very cute cups is what we got right now, but we'll be rocking something special later. So tea time is going to be a time where we just need to get something off our chest. So it's just going to be a time, you got something to say, this is a safe place, and you're more than welcome to say it. That's about it with that. I pretty much don't have much more to give.
In addition to tea time, you can look forward to meeting guests, both from the William James community and outside of the William James community, to talk about leadership topics, things that are trending in organizations, and potentially some topics that you suggest as our audience. We hope that throughout this series, we get a lot of feedback from you. So don't be afraid to give us your 2 cents.
Yeah, so I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be working with these ladies. We all have different journeys and experiences. And this is really just conversation. We want to have conversation with you. We want to share our experiences while you're sharing yours with ours. And like Latoya said, we will have guests on the show. And so we appreciate you coming to our first episode of Unregulated Leadership. And we look forward to seeing you in the near future. So we will see you all very soon. Take care. See, that's the problem. We're so loud that we can't hear her. We gotta be softer.
Yeah, I
just move your mouth.
I could project.